I'd like to bring forth an idea that actually may or may not be popular on YouTube, but it is going to be an actual factual presentation of way that things really are and have been throughout the centuries, actually since the dawn of history as far as we know it in the modern world, and all the way back as far as we know in recorded history. That is about what the Jewish people, the Jewish race, or even Zionism has to do with global powers and global domination. Actually, these people, the Jewish faith, or whatever you want to call it, or even Zionism itself, is not a force of global domination or in with the New World Order. Now, that is not to say that there is not maybe some people of the Jewish faith that are in it. But even when you're looking at the Jewish faith, the Jewish people, maybe the Jewish religion, or Israel, or even Zionism itself, they're not down and in with the New World Order. It is exactly quite the opposite. Israel has always wanted to remain strong, free, and independent. I'm going to actually bring out some historical facts, but maybe before I even get into the long-range history of some of the revolts whereby Israel, Jews, or whatever you want to call it, as a nation, as a religion, as a people, have fought against the powers that be, the New World Order at the time, against all odds, would not give up, would not assimilate, would always stay with their own ways. These are not people that are actually trying to push something on others throughout the globe. It is quite the opposite. These are actually people that are very much independent. Now, I know the Rothschilds are often cited as proof that Jews are in with the New World Order, but that is not proof. That may be attributable maybe to the particular Rothschild family, possibly, or maybe that's pretty solid that it's attributable to the Rothschild family, but that is not even attributable to even the Zionist movement per se, because the Zionist movement is about a free and independent and strong Israel. So that is quite a big difference about being assimilated into the New World Order, because that is something the Jews would not want to do. Guarantee you that right now. But even I want to look at something here. This is the Zuz, the Jewish coin. Now, we always talk about silver, right? Now, this was a silver coin that Jews used during the time of Vespasian, Titus, Domitian, Trajan, and Hadrian during the times of the Romans. Like Vespasian was the Roman emperor from 70 A.D. after Jews were scattered after the destruction of the Second Temple. Now, what this coin actually said, and let me just read it to you right down here. Basically, it was overstruck on the Roman imperial denarii, or Roman provincial drachmas of the emperors. So go from the time of the destruction of the temple in 70 A.D., during these times of the Roman emperors, Jews used the silver money of the empire, but they overstruck it with their symbols. And a verse was surrounded by, and the symbols were, to the freedom of Jerusalem. Now, is this a people that is looking to dominate the world, or is this the people that is actually trying to be free from domination of the powers that be? I'm going to present to you that it has always been my contention that the real powers that be are extremely shrewd devils that are using Jerusalem, Jews, Israel, or even the Zionists as scapegoats for the attention as anybody who was actually directed against the New World Order. They are being used as the scapegoats and to be blamed on it, when in fact they are vehemently against this, maybe not so much for the entire planet, but definitely for their own survival. Definitely for their own survival. They will not assimilate. The New World Order is about bringing about all religions into one religion. They are not going to assimilate. The Jews will not assimilate. They are vehemently against the New World Order. See, I want to put this out because, sometimes there's confusion between Rothschild, Zionism, Jews, Israel, or whatever. But, whatever the Rothschilds' policy is, it is not the policy of even the Zionist. Not even that. Not even that. So, this there's been revolts way before this too, but some of the biggest revolts and the biggest historical events and revolts that have been reflected in Jewish history is, I guess you would say, from the time of the first Jewish-Roman war, because this was the time when they were really greatly dispersed. Rome destroyed the Second Temple, and actually, I'm actually an historical buff on Rome, and I see a lot of good in the Roman Empire. But this was one major mistake in the Roman Empire. But what happened is, you're talking about a fiercely independent people that would not want to be assimilated by anybody. This is not a people that wants to be melded into the New World Order. No way. Their goal, and this is the goal of even a Zionist, because Zionist is about the protection and preservation and thriving of Israel. It is not about, we want to take over the world and tell everybody this is the way it's going to be and you're going to be doing it our way. No. It is about the preservation of Israel and the protection of Israel and the Jewish race and the Jewish people, or the Jewish religion, of whatever you want to call it. Because I know there's a lot of controversy. Is it a religion? Is it a race? Or I guess it's really both, But anyway, there's 3 major rebellions by the Jews of the Judea province, Judea, against the Roman Empire. The second was in the Kittos War of 115 to 117, and the third was in the Bar Kokhba's revolt of 132-135, and there's actually been other ones against later in 3-something AD, which was against the brother of the Constantine II. So that even after they were dispersed, but this is like, you're looking at a story here that when you look into the details and you look at, and this goes so much even before this, Jews do not want to be overridden, forced, coerced into, we're whatever the powers that be telling them what to do. These are independent people, fiercely independent people. So let me put it to this way: they are definitely against the New World Order. Don't go freaking buying it the other way. Despite what maybe a Rothschild does, because is that a Judaism? Is that actually somebody that is even a Zionist? No, not at all. That's, I don't know what that is. That's somebody else that's just different from the actual, what actually the religion is, the people is, or whatever. But anyway, the Great Revolt began in the year 1666, at a common era, as they're calling it now, or after Christ, or whatever. Originating in the Greek and Jewish religion tensions, Jews would not want to be assimilated into the gods that were the pagan gods of the empire, or whatever. They didn't want that. But the other thing is, the crisis escalated due to anti-taxation protests. Now, does that tell you that Jews want to be part of the New World Order? No. They actually were the only ones that had the balls to stand up against the greatest power of the time, and actually of the time that lasted from, I don't know, maybe I guess from 1,000 years and another 1,000 years beyond that in the East under the Constantinople and Constantine Empire, or in the Byzantine Empire, whatever you want to call it. They went against the greatest power there was, and they fought fiercely. Despite, basically they had a revolution. This is actually a long story. I'm going to get into it very briefly. But despite initial advances in conquest of Jaffa, the Syrian legion was ambushed and defeated by Jewish rebels at the Battle of Beth Horon, with 6,000 Romans massacred and the legion's Aquila lost, a result that shocked the Roman leadership. So what happened is, what happens with everything with Rome, it's like they just pour on more power till the enemy is done. That's exactly what they are. They were the New World Order. It's my contention that, unfortunately, not to bend under their pressure, but there could have been probably something else that could have been done at that time. But, history is always 20/20. The experienced and unassuming General Vespasian, who later became the Roman Emperor in 70 A.D., was given the task of crushing the rebellion in Judea province. His son Titus also became a Roman emperor later on, was appointed as the second in command, given 4 legions and assisted by the forces of King Agrippa II. Vespasian invaded Galilee in 67 AD, avoiding a direct attack on the reinforced city of Jerusalem, which is defended by the main rebel force. So 4 legions were amassed against the Jewish defenders, the Jewish freedom fighters, if you ever want to label it as such. The Romans launched a persistent campaign of terror to eradicate Jewish rebel strongholds and punish the population. Within several months, Vespasian and Titus took over the major Jewish strongholds of Galilee. Now, what happened here, there was a lot more involved there. I'm just going to skip over this real quickly. After a lull in military operations owing to civil war and political turmoil in Rome, because what happened at this time when this was going on, in 69 AD, this was actually the time of the 4 Roman emperors. It was Galba, Otho, Vitellian, and Vespasian. Actually, Vespasian, now you're talking General Vespasian, he actually became the emperor, but there was 3 others before him in rapid succession, with internal strife going on within the empire, around the time that the Second Temple of Jerusalem was being destroyed. So it almost is always this way, that the powers that be seem to always have major problems when they actually vehemently go against the Jewish people, the Jewish race, or the Jewish religion, however you want to put it, or all 3 of it above. So Vespasian was gone at that time, and then he was appointed to emperor in 69 AD. With Vespasian, that was the year of the 4 emperors I was stating. With Vespasian's departure, Titus moved to besiege the center of the rebel resistance in Jerusalem in early 70 AD. The first 2 walls of Jerusalem were breached within 3 weeks, but a stubborn rebel standoff prevented the Roman army from breaking the 3rd and thickest wall. So following a brutal 7-month siege, during which zealot infighting amongst the Jewish rebels, resulted in the burning of the entire food supplies of the city, that's what enabled the Romans to finally succeed in breaching the defenses of the weakened forces in the summer of 70 AD. So when it looked like things were going bad, it looked like some rebels wanted to deal with them, and some were wanted to hold out. And I guess that's what caused the Rome to eventually overcome them in 70 AD. So following the fall of Jerusalem, Titus left for Rome, leaving the Legion 10 Tentis to defeat the remaining strongholds of Jewish strongholds, finalizing the Roman campaign in Masada in 73-74, which 3-4 years later. And you know what happened in Masada? They all died. Basically, it was the Alamo for the Jewish people, the Jewish rebels, the Jewish defenders. They did not give up. I mean, these are basically like Texans on steroids, if you want to put it that way. They're totally anti-New World Order. I'm just putting it to you bluntly. And people aren't seeing this angle. The devils that are the New World Order are using these people as scapegoats. Period. I'm not going to pull out the violins, the sympathy, because, actuality, Jews or Israelites or people of the Jewish faith, people of the Jewish race, they fought. They fought. They didn't give up. Everybody else was assimilating into the Roman Empire. They say, "Oh, the hell with this! I ain't fighting these guys." Not the Jews. They're not for the New World Order. They're against it. They're against it all the way. And this was not the beginning of it. This is one of the major highlights of Jewish history, but this was not the end of it either. This is not even the end of it. Like I mentioned now about the Jewish coin, the zuz, a Jewish coin, the silver coin, to show their independence even after they were defeated. Vespasian was the emperor during that time. And then Titus, that was the other general. He became an emperor at that time Domitian, Trajan, Hadrian's Wall, up in England. They made and overstruck the coins of those empires with their own symbols to the freedom of Jerusalem. These are people that are in with the New World Order? No way in hell. I'm just putting it as blunt. That's just the way it is. I'm just telling you, that's exactly what the facts are. They're not messing around with anything. So even as this happened, other revolts even occurred after this, between 167 and 351 AD, or of the Common Era, or whatever you want to call it, after Christ, after the Common Era, or whatever. These include 4 revolts in Judea. The Hasmonean Revolt, 167 and 164, the first Jewish revolt, and 66, 74. That's the one I just talked about. The Bar Kokhba Revolt, 132 to 135, and perhaps under Gallus, 351 to 352. A 5th revolt took place in the Diasporian communities between 114 and 117. Compared to other colonized people of the Greco-Roman world, the Jews were unique in their repeated military resistance to Greco-Roman domination. These are not people that are going to be assimilated into the New World Order. That I will guarantee you. So, anyway, I just want to put this out because, there seems to be a major influence on the internet, on the airwaves and YouTube and all this, that the New World Order is Jewish. Wrong. The New World Order are devils that are very, very shrewdly deflecting your attention on the Jews and away from themselves, because what they're actually looking to do is destroy Israel, the Jews, and the radical and the Muslims in Islam, by them all destroying each other, and out of the ashes is going to come the New World Order. And they're going to set down the rules. The New World Order is devils, are devils, and Jews any true Jew will not want to be assimilated into the New World Order. Now, I'm not Jewish myself, but I'll tell you one thing, I'm a freedom fighter. So, as a freedom fighter, I am on the side of Israel, the Jews, and even the Zionists. When you're defining the Zionist movement as, actually every Jew is a Zionist in a way. It means preserving your heritage, preserving your way of life. That doesn't mean you're going against the United States. The United States doesn't have a policy of forcing a way of life on people. It lets people do what they want. Jews are not like Islam, where they're trying to convert people, or even Christianity, where they're trying to convert people. Jews do not try to convert people. They want to be independent. They're like an independent ancient tribe that has always been around, that will not assimilate into the powers that be. This is why when his coin was struck, it was actually said, "To the freedom of Jerusalem, to the freedom of Jerusalem." After they were defeated, the Second Temple was destroyed. The coins of the powers that be were overstruck to the freedom of Jerusalem. And they still revolted. They still revolted even after they were defeated. And this has always been their history. So are these people the New World Order, behind the New World Order? No. No. Now, I mean, if you look at a Rothschild, I don't know what a Rothschild is. What is a Rothschild? I don't know. They're their own thing, And I don't even, they're not the top of the New World Order. No way. Anybody, the people see, say as a household word almost, the Rothschild, that that's not the top people. No way. But just put it to you bluntly again that Israel is never going to want to be assimilated into the New World Order. Never. Ever. So, the freedom fighters on our side. That's the way I look at it. So I wholeheartedly support them. That's the way it goes.